Mario Kart Wii is a great game. I mean, how can it not be? Up until Mario Kart 8 Deluxe in 2017, this was the best-selling Mario Kart game of all time. And it's many people's introduction to Mario Kart, including myself. Mario Kart Wii introduced a lot of things to franchises that become staples. Things like bikes became an interesting game. I'd say first, things also like tricking also became a huge staple in this game. Okay, introduced characters like Funky Kong and Rosalina, characters that have become fan favorites in the Mario Kart franchise. But above all else, Mario Kart Wii is a fun game to play. But you also know what it is? Mario Kart Wii is also hella broken. Now, when I mean broken, I do not mean broken as in, say, Dr. Mr. High, where it's virtually unplayable a lot of times. I mean, it's kind of hard to say so, but hear me out. Mario Kart Wii allows you to do things like this. These are what we call ultra shortcuts. Shortcuts that skip a huge portion of the track, and yet you still get a lap count. But how do you do these? And what even is an ultra shortcut? Well, my friends and curious viewers, welcome everybody to the Great Northern Film Podcast again. And today, we'll be looking into Mario Kart Wii's ultra shortcuts.
Okay, Smokey, roll 'em.
It's showtime.
Most everyone's mad.
Okay, before we get into Mario Kart Wii's ultra shortcuts, I might as well tell you how exactly do they work. Well, let me just throw something up here. This is a map of Warrior's Gold Mine in the Flower Cup of Mario Kart Wii. Warrior's Gold Mine is actually 20%. Now, I found this map on the internet and these are going to use. These lines right here explain everything away. First off, let's go over a few things. There are a few things I want to do. First off, these lines right here are all kind of unique. Let's begin. Number one, ignore these blue lines and all, okay? First off, okay? What we're going to call these you should just call it checkpoints in the first place. You can ignore these blue lines. These blue lines, you don't need to worry about. These just where latitude drops you off in case you ever need it. You can basically just forget about these. The ones in red, however, you can't really forget about them that easily. In fact, it's kind of more funny if you don't forget about them. Remember them, okay? But, in case you do, remember them, these are called key checkpoints. These are essential. You have to drive through all of them before you get a lap counted. Okay? This purple box right here is a start line. The start line also conjecturally acts as a key checkpoint itself. Whatever it is you have to drive through all of these. So in Warrior's Gold Mine, there are 4 key checkpoints and a box that's region 0, basically, okay? So let's see if I can, so if I drive the track normally, that would be 1 lap. However, Mario Kart Wii also has a bit of a fail-safe. Here's how it works. If you do a massive skip in key checkpoint 2 and you spend it in 24 actually, my mistake, you don't actually complete a lap. But why? Well, here's the limitation. Key checkpoint 2 only loads key checkpoint 2, key checkpoint 3, and if you're in the box key checkpoint 2, key checkpoint 1. it kind of works like this. If you're in the box, you can also go to checkpoint 1 still. However, if you're out of the box, it will only load checkpoint 2 and key checkpoint 1 and 3. It's a little confusing, but it gets down to it. Okay? So as such, Region 4 is not loaded. And as such, when you drive through it, because it's not loaded, you will not get that lap count. Okay? So, you kind of have to play kind of weirdly. So I might be asking a question. Say, what if I just go to the finish line and just go backwards? Wouldn't that count as a lap? No, because there's another fail-safe in there too. One thing that you have to remember is that if you drive by the finish line, and I'll tell you this, you are actually, if you're doing a reverse, you are actually, I mean technically, taking the lap subtracted. Wait, what do I mean by subtracted? Well, Kart Wii system has a system where if you drive just like this and just go again, it would actually subtract a lap from you. You never actually complete a lap, and you never left key checkpoint 0 or hit checkpoint 4. So yeah. But what about the ultra shortcuts I mentioned at the beginning? How do you do those? Well, before we get that, I also should show you. Kart Wii's time trial circuit has 3 different ways of getting things done. Let's begin. 80%. This is the standard one. We're not going to talk about 80% ones because these are pretty simple. 80% is just you driving across the track normally as fast as you can. This is pretty simple, anyone can do it, it's basically not really tailored. The ultra shortcut is where you take and skip a gigantic portion, yet you still complete a lap somehow. Looking into how that's worked on very soon. And the last one is called TAS, or in other words, Tool Assisted Speed Run. Now what is a TAS exactly? Well, TAS is where you would use certain tools off of either changing the game or from an emulator to really change things. Mario Kart Wii's whole idea is that you can, tasks is that you can basically change what you want. These require mods, emulators, or testing to get through them, and these are incredibly hard. Okay, we're looking to the lab 2 in particular. So, what would classify as Ultra Shortcut 2? Well, an Ultra Shortcut classifies as 2 main things. 1, it's not a simple corner cut. A corner cut is something similar to on Bass Castle 3 on Intact, like this thing for example, does not count as an Ultra Shortcut, okay? This is a corner cut. You're not really skipping a lot of the track here, and it only really saves maybe, I don't know, maybe 10 seconds on the track. Well, an Ultra Shortcut is more avoiding a lot of the track. You're still driving across most of the track if you're doing this one. You just do. Plus, an Ultra Shortcut is very much harder to do than this. These are things that YouTubers can do in their sleep. But the Ultra Shortcuts, not so much. 2. Just because you can play the Ultra Shortcut does not mean the lap will count. You have to be in the exact right position to do an Ultra Shortcut and have the lap count. It is very precise. I'm asking, how precise? Well, honestly, it really depends on what track you're playing on. And 3, you have to kind of be unique with this. Ultra Shortcuts have a bit of an odd system, so using them kind of makes the game kind of feel broken. I mean, with the Ultra Shortcuts themselves, they're already broken, but you know what I mean. So, I'd be asking, when was the first one discovered? Well, let's answer that. So, you're asking, when was the first Ultra Shortcut discovered? Well, look no further than June 1st of 2008. This was discovered on Global Volcano. Now this stuff is pretty weird honestly, but here's how it works. Global Volcano, you know the track very well if you play Kart Wii. It's the track where you run it, but every lap or so, a piece of it breaks apart every now and then by the 3rd lap, it basically is all broken. Well, here's how that works. It kind of works. You go on this part right here, and you go on this walk phase and you go around it. But how would you see the lap of that thing? Well, there are 2 methods of getting on a swap phase I'll show you. Method 1, aka the solo method. You would drive back on the track, and you would hit the barrier right here. Just point and just do it that way. This is slower and is not really used. The other one though is different. You would either do a wheelie or shroom or slash wheelie or drift, and you would actually and just go into that position right there. You have to be kind of careful as you have to have the right amount of air and jet force to get there. Instead, you just have to drive on the face as carefully as you can and get there. Yeah. It's basically pretty simple to get down once you actually master it. The catch is trying to get on it. Everything has to be kind of precise. You have to actually go through it all and get out. Okay? Okay? Now, what do I mean by getting kind of precise? Like, can't you just use it the normal way? Like, it shouldn't be too hard to get down, right? Well, curious viewers, that's how it's gonna work. Method Albin was one of the first ones to set back in date, gain 35 seconds. But it'd be lowered almost immediately. And also shortcut gets lowered almost instantly sometimes. People are that quick on it. And it's very hard to lose. Mushroom early on the map 3. And you also lose to jump faster. Between King Ox and Nayaki, 100 seconds. Which is like it is nowadays. A time from Nayaki. But let's not get caught of ourselves. I mean, it's only a one phenomenon, right? I mean, when the next ultra shortcut because of it? Try something else. What I mean, it was a rarity, right? Mario 64 is the only exception to this. Really? Really? Well, volcano is phenomenal, right? How about it? Well, get this. On literally 20 days later, another one was discovered on Mushroom Gorge. Now, this one's pretty fun. It is different though. Mushroom Gorge is it's pretty simple. Shortly drive for a bit, turn around, and boost on trampoline mushroom off of. Go in backward air, up the wall. Above the finish line, jump behind it, cross it, keep by hitting 324. This kind of works with a bug. And then once you offer the mushrooms locked in place. And hit a wall though, reserve. And if you angle the right way, this bounces the lever to allow you to get through this. Now using a trick. And finish line. Usually cracker because it's box ways way. Using motion controls so yeah, those two are pretty easy to discover, but what's the third one? The third one though, Warriors Gold Mine. You already know how the checkpoint system on this one works, kind of. So how does this one work? I mean, it's hard to discover just one place. But on January 18th, 2009, a bunch of fast boardings. John 13, and then from DW Fox. This is simple enough trick. The system now works. It's on zone 0, boost out of bounds at the right place, finish line. Respawn behind the finish line. Usually it starts 0 technically. There. Ground in 4. Going to which one? Allow can be calculated in under 15 seconds. Over the next 4 days, players implement this trick once, then twice, over and over again. I'm going to jump first. 2020. Sean Tammy, something else. The pipe bounce. Now this pipe is actually out of bounds. If you make contact with it, you're doing like a 2. Let's see how it launches windows. It says there's weird things in this game. The pipe with back wheel, for example, playing, I can see one pick you up. You can go you hit pipe at, you fly up in the air with reckless banding. Mainly, inside this bridge has no collision. Only top does. So basically, low means you can hit like third and hit top. Of course, like that is too hard. It's very difficult to get the exact angle you need. But if it did work, it saves time when you're playing like a tip. Tip for the telephones. And you'll be hearing his name a few times. The Pollo is our first one. Down by a few seconds. Although he is. Two, made by YouTuber that you might actually know right now, Mr. Bean. If you guys don't know, Mr. Bean is the same person who created Custom Track GP, where you can get custom tracks on Minecraft Wii. In fact, I have it myself, and it's incredibly fun. If you ever see a Troy 98 video before, TW98 video before, that's what those zones are. Mr. Bean's record though is something unique. It would last for 6 whole years. 2011 came around. It was broken by Mr. Bean. In 2012, nobody broke it. 2013, nobody broke it. 14, no. 15, no. 16, no. It would take up to 17 to break it. And you will never get a strike here.
Good. Oh yes. Not 3. Oh! Here we go!
It's been done!
Yes!
Holy shit! Wow!
Yes!
Fucking hell! 6 years! The oldest
6 years in
record!
the making.
The only 2011 record!
Mr. Bean himself broke his own world record. And then some guy named Justin broke it. But as you see, these records are kind of complex. I mean, you're going through, here's how it goes. You're going up to a rock face, up on a cliff, and then, of course, going through a pipe to line underneath a bridge. This one's a bit different, though. What if I could just drive through the parking lot? It should be a lot easier, right? Enter Coconut Mall. Now, with Coconut Mall, it definitely isn't the easiest way to get this. There are methods to get it, but they're not exactly the easiest. I mean, there really isn't much else. Instead, walls they separate the track. So to make this possible, you kind of need to make some boundaries and go out of bounds. On jump 2011, you stop at the bottom of the stairs to 3.02. Check up on the ramp. The wall kind of stops you here. However, Phantom's back tire on this patch of green. Green is the wall. A wall is in the sky. We call these horizontal walls. Horizontal walls are weird. If you hit a horizontal wall, you actually get it down. And actually can go drive very awkwardly. It's weird. If you hit your in just up a side, you can see through walls. It's not on why though. It happen. It can be used right here. Oh, push the passage green. There's a wall right here and land out of bounds. Bounds have no hit condition though. Right through them. So now it's a matter of just maneuvering through the picture points. You're going to change it in 1, region 0. Round, which line to get to 0 behind the finish line. Right? Retreat, aka 2.5. And drive finish line 0. Whereas around the finish line, hitting train 5, that's in 1 minute. Whereas hectic as hell. Okay, there's plenty times. It also includes the shortest round I've ever made. At 10:06 p.m. in Visual 87, you want to look at record to 126. 32 seconds later, Source Steel is getting 14. Source Steel is really neat. He's going to go for this. Apparently stayed 22 hours straight. Please. Wow, 72 hours straight. That requires a hell of a lot of dedication right there. And eventually got better and better throughout these times, eventually even breaking himself. 4 times even. The methods were found though. There's still no method. Well, you know, above to hit the walls on wall. Months later, the new method was found. It was early in the track. Anytime driving could hit this horizontal wall. For years, the Kemi would be on a wall. It's been held by Breakson, a prominent one in Mario Kart 64, who was injured in 2018. But we're still in 2011, huh? This time, the air was being used in motion shortcuts yet. But it's another one right here, the wall clip. A wall clip works like this. You hit the wall and then you go flying in the air with reckless abandon. These are used on various tracks, and it's one that really dominates everything. Okay, if you hit a so with this wall clip, how does that exactly go anywhere? So you have this kind of, so let's go with Ghost Rider 2 for example. You hit this wall on key checkpoint 0 and you hit the wall, but you drive through region 2. However, since you never really technically left the box of region 0, region 3 is still loaded. As such, you go through here and then you go all the way across track and up counts. However, this one doesn't really save much time. And you wonder why? Because it really doesn't really save much time due to the fact that, well, get this, driving across track normally is not really that much slower. All it is that you have to remember as you run. I mean, it sounds like they're not saving any time, but it still doesn't really work. Our next two though, are definitely like that. Peach Beach has another ultra shortcut like this. Sam is the first one to do your time. You want to get real quick? Is King Alex. You hit this, here's how it works. You hit this one tree on lap 1, and you would actually hit it and go like this, and you be in region 4, and then all you do is just, and since it hits which time, the lap would count, and now you save much time and do that. But next one's on Mario Circuit after the walkthrough. Mario Circuit's weird though. Technically, it shouldn't work, because going from region 4, 0, you would go behind it, you go right here, and you're going to hit this tree and hit that. But it shouldn't work, right? I mean, we're going from checkpoint 0 to 3, and 3 is not loaded, and you're going behind the finish line, so 4 is out of the question. So 4 is kind of odd too. Your number should be at 0, and it's pretty weird. Well, curious viewers, here's how you actually get that count. Drive to the tunnel, hit key checkpoint 4, 0 is 0. The key checkpoint box actually extends below the tunnel. So as such, you are now at number gets up to 0 again, and then since you're on checkpoint 0 box, you're now going to go to checkpoint 4 and go through. Whitley will be the first one to discover it and go through. But that's something else entirely. You gotta still scratch the surface here. In 2015, we have had one we discovered pretty sim, Maple Treeway. This one's kind of hard to describe though. Of course, it has been known for years. The chopper can turn around and jump to a point in front of course. The issue was, last finish line, that doesn't count. Look at the map, I mean, it's pretty obvious why. Ignore this cluster of pieces right over here. This is a mess right here. I'll show you. When you land in a cannon shot, you went 2. Shortcut though, into Region 7, which isn't loaded. Region finish line, Region 9 also isn't loaded. Which means you're still in Region 2 finish line. That doesn't count. That's what your point says out though. A task one named Malia figured you clear fence point in app. Lap side 0. From there, you turn and get into air bounds wall and land the ramp below. It's called checkpoint 1 and 2. Checkpoints are still loaded, other than 9. We went long. We shouldn't do 9 anyways, with the hood. Last one. I'll count. Towards which one to you can real time. Over the years. You should use 2 mushrooms though. But it's 10 favorite by just 1. Humans peach 1 circle skips though. As a bite to get to eat. It involves doing a wall clip to merely nick the corner of it all. He turns to 4. But the angle has to be precise to get it managed well. Has to is enough to set a world record. But as of now, it's not been done. Summoned by Demon. So that's been with Treeway from 2012. Again, however, there'll be a lull in Mario Kart Wii Ultra Shortcuts. 2012 turned into 2013, no new Ultra Shortcuts, and the same door 2014. It wouldn't be until something crazy would happen in 2014, 19 and 15. This is Blaze. Blaze makes such speed runs in Mario Kart Wii. He has a habit of all of them and glitches and shortcuts. From June 28th, July 5th, there's workable stories out there. 3 brand new Ultra Shortcuts. Now, first one, what on Water Stadium is not possible to do as of 2015, but we'll discuss how it is possible later. So here's how it works basically, for a person just to know. Here's how it works. The setup is hard, but not impossible. Bump, turn around, and boost to get air time. From there, each line pass through the height detection. Incredibly hella precise, but not impossible. And all it really is just a step for later. You can go to region 2, region unloaded, aka region 5. Similar to what we did in Mario Treeway. The impossible part involves rapid fire hop abuse, or hop button on every other frame of her pipe. Now, here's the issue though. Mario Kart Wii runs at 60 frames per second, meaning, and this is a big meaning, you have to press the button 30 times in 1 second. Yeah, kind of impossible to do that. So, it is a good reason why it didn't get possible until later. We'll discuss that later though, but yeah. Because of the rapid fire abuse, it's impossible. It's so... For Shepherd Lands though, it is possible. It's not hard, it's just harder. At first glance, it seems easy. You drive here, get into the water, and then bounce off, and then you finish a lap, just a lap 2. You don't need this one plus race though as much as they in a way. But let's explain how. You need to be pretty precise though. Baseball and land agent. Intersection of the line. If you hit this box at all on this side, the game will spawn you right behind you. Finish line. Really? The constant blue line. It will respawn you. But possible. You only this once. The last one on DK Jones Parkway was seen to be impossible though. I mean, and you kind of look at it, it's kind of hard. You bounce, you use the drift, bounce or swim, you bounce off this tree, hit the swords on the wall, connect the swords on the wall, and then add to that. It seems like it's impossible. You go from region 1 to 4, but it is possible. Getting enough height here though is hard, but doing that will land exactly where you need to be. Finish line pole, like angle iron tunnel. Nobody can do that. At least not until Sam proved that. You just get the first person to do the trick in one time by one and get a world record. There are some creative methods though, like using a ghost system execution to world of flip. You line this up perfectly fine, much better time getting the angle needed. Danny G brings us to do 2 in a row, and breaks him going to do it again 3 on 3. Taking him 26,000 attempts, but it was still a hell of a record. Breaks has been lowering his record ever since. Over the course of 7 years, from 2008 to 2015, we've seen a few Ultra Shortcuts go through. But, you know what they say? We haven't reached anywhere yet. Will we see past 2015 after the break?
me, Cowboy Jet. Come on down to the Mario Kart Emporium. People ask, Jet, how easy is it to drive in the new Mario Kart Wii game? And Jet says, get behind the wheel. Want to do a flip? Get behind the wheel. Want to pop a wheelie? Get behind the wheel. Want to power slide? Get behind the wheel. Still not convinced? Just look at Jet Jr.
This is great, Daddy.
Look at that boy. Every Mario Kart Wii comes with a Wii wheel. Rated E for everyone.
And we are back, everybody. Now, where I left off, I said that there was a bit of a lull in the Mario Kart thing, and then we got into the. We're now in 2015. Well, Revolution happened after Something Soul released his video on Mario Kart Ultra Shortcuts in 2018. But we're gonna get to him doing a lot of things very soon. Afterwards, so brand new ones we discovered. And 2019 to 2021, a revolution would happen. And this revolution is something else entirely. Let's begin. Let's see how this goes. Our first one, we return to our old friend Sherbet Land. The course again, we all know the course a lot. Ooh. And there's a bit of a hard thing. So how does this, so let's go. So let's do Sherbet Lands again. It involves doing a wall clip. Backing up, doing a motion, and doing a wheelie to get this 5 frames entertainment just by rotation. You can run in the side of the sun of this thing into high into the air and hit land on the wall. A lap is short. A 143 by Guy in 2017. This issue though, however, is only done once. Since the act of respawning takes away your mushrooms, which are required to at least 4 ways in the first place. So if you get someone without mushroom in respawning, that'd be huge. And it seemed like that should be possible too. Laying to the left a 10, you could theoretically respawn, but doing so causes a lot to count because of the failsafe. A 95% rule. The game actually keeps track of how much of the course you completed when to the checkpoint. Or at least it should, but it doesn't really do it great, amazingly. More than 95% of the track, next, it will not count the following lap. Now the game actually isn't that great at tracking this in most cases. In Global Volcano, for example, it is skipping more than 95% of the sprint block. And it says 83%. So the trick works fine. Sherbet Land, this checkpoint right here, track, things are 1097%. 5% rule was not a satisfied count. For years, as a rule, in May 2019, a tour city run by Square George Gallagher. Anytime you enter a checkpoint, so checkpoint, say checkpoint 2, at 2% of the time, then 97%, then 5% will be satisfied enough, and that would count. So, Square got this is a speed run of Sherbet Land. It was a speed run. So this one was kind of hard, but in the end, at 35 seconds, he got it. So normally in a real race, from RTA or real-time play, but use 2 mushrooms, process once. Get a record with 140. A month later, Taylor with 29, mushroom run, last mushroom, do the wall clip again, and then the water tip. The same method was improved upon by months. Down in 16, but Arthur in 2020, which is what it is nowadays. As of now, nobody hit the one mushroom respawn record in real time, even once. If the other got pretty damn close in 2020, but his front tire hit Gage, but he couldn't make it all the way. So given that, times in a row, for instance, he's out of the question. Right now, that's impossible. But who knows who will hold in the future? He's Sugarland Williams his first real test in the Ultra Revolution 2019 through 2021. Weeks discoveries would lay dormant tad. What was the events? But in July, seemingly out of nowhere, possibly the craziest thing in America have been introduced. Remember how I said the Oculus has maybe about 1 to 2 per year? Well, during the hours, there was a new choice. It wasn't even 2. There were 3, baby. Now, all of these were done in tasks, mind you, but still. 3, call a ridiculous coincidence or a hunch, call it a combination of years of effort, or call it a hell of a shot. There was, look at that. On July 11th and 12th, new Ultra Guts were revealed on 64 Bowser's Castle, Shy Guy Beach on GBA, and Koopa Cape. Bowser's Castle was first. And it looked pretty similar to Sugarland. And the show was done by CF. It was done by Luke and others. It began by a humanly possible trick known as aka Rapid Fire Boost. You know, when you hit the button every other frame. Which again is humanly impossible at tasks. But again, Rapid Highest is only in tasks. Then once you get near this wall, you can release a fire abuse, causing the game to complete with the unidimensional angle, and slam your phone wheel into the ground. You can fly into the air with reckless abandon and roll next to the finish line. By then, during the full flip, you'll fly high in the air in lava. The shortcut looks just like doing Sherbet Land. These checkpoints extend outward into the lava, so it's possible to land and then do that individually. So once again, bounce, respawn course, respawn checkpoint, and finish the lap. Ultimately, even the shortcuts in structures on land, I never said it was the same. That if I copy it makes a task only. It was impossible to do this humanly for now. Secondly, the shortcut, on the hand, is humanly possible. But that's one background. The same day before doing shortcut discovered, and Blakeson posted this GIF of wall clipping. Right away, CF realized men's potential attacks. Being into a wall right in front of the finish line and land somewhere back here, you would then be able to get 10 shots behind again pretty fast lap. Bounce challenge outplayed on a cycle. And the same time as every time. And coincidentally enough, there is a 1 at the start. So theoretically you could get down. Exactly where you need to be. So naturally, that's what you do. But every time the bomb will explode too quickly, Luke was able to get close to the task, but just 1 frame before he could get it. So, see, it was the second time. Unfortunately, that involved waiting 3 minutes. There goes the world record. But what about the single lap world record? End of the finish lap, and when on timer, you quickly start the second lap, bomb to the end of the lap, and smash the fastest time. And late that same day, we were doing. Justin became the first to do the record. No shortcuts. Lap. And do you want to know who he passed the time? by eating an entire sleeve of Oreos. Without milk, by the way, just FYI. 4 weeks later, we improved upon the task by EJ. By sawing to off the back of the bomb, shave a fraction of a second off. Although it was some spice, it was also quicker. It was also brought to RTA. There's a 69 by Jack Gluson. One of the most bizarre gimmicks ever. So those were the first two. Both discovered on July 11th. Involved the same thing, wall clips. Flying high into the air since the flap. Just a while later, the third ultra short would show up. Now was discovered. One was the craziest one yet. Welcome to Cooper Cape. So, how do you do this? The credit for this one goes to Blaze. Being revealed task on July 12th. You start by going half pipe in front of the finish line and tilting the nose of your bike down. And then you wrap up the beeps. Keep your back wheel there as you move forward. By releasing it, you get slammed into the ground again. Yeah. The wrap pipe beeps will make this really impossible. But even if it didn't, this next part would likely take the cake. By angling it up in the air, you can then do a wall clip and land inside the barrier, being on a track. Then, when you finish the line with extreme precision, and fall off the course. When you respawn by the finish line and finish lap. Again, as it shows right now, it's definitely not humanly viable. Getting the gap is impossible of the 5 puppies. And this is found no human will ever play this task. So that's when the ultra shortcuts discovered in the first section in 2019. Including the respawn shortcut band, that equals a grand total of 4 ultra shortcuts. Never before has something been done at that pace. There have been years in the past with several shorts found like 2008 and 2011, but never 4. But necessary team, well, and again another lull. Commonly seen again. And then came 2020. Do you know what happened? As you know, COVID impacted 2020 heavily. You couldn't go out of your house, and you had to stay in your home every time. But this brought attention back to Kart Wii. With no way to go out of your house, how would you entertain themselves? Many people turn to video gaming. In COVID alone, video gaming can be a huge help. Games like Animal Crossing New Horizons became relatively popular in COVID, and games that were things that you couldn't do at home beforehand, like Wii Sports Resort, became incredibly popular during COVID, gaining a rise again. So it's only imaginable that Kart Wii got the same treatment. During the time of the coronavirus, it helped out get through this way, and because of COVID's huge impact and all, it seemed that things would help out. If you could, and because of it, a new shortcut was discovered. On Mario 2nd. Anyway, let's get a lap skip. Issue is though with Mario, I mean, this thing should be easy, right? There's one issue though. There's a massive invisible wall that goes above it. Invisible walls are basically what they say. They are a wall that you cannot see. It extends upwards in the sky. Any attempt past this will be blocked by this wall. But in early January 2020, named Jaden planned out the extension of this wall, mission out past the wall. And bomb here has no hit section. So, to get through that section wall, you could still land inside the battle. A player named Snoop figured out how to do that. Wall clicking off of this mushroom. From there, she had to get there and go around West Course. Well, but still touching the road. Doing this is hard. You have an incredibly tight space to work with. But it's point midway through the track, no more than 90 degrees to the left. And Charlie figured out turning the car. You have to go extremely slowly and do a standstill main turbo aware. This tedious movement didn't even walk, but still figured it out. She then backed across the finish line, used mushroom, and fell to the track. Bond then drove to the end for a second lap. This incredibly precise method was about Jova. From this box, is on to this box back here. Change this box right here. Warm up and count. And go. Okay, it's done. It takes forever. That's the 16-second lap. Published by EJ, contributions from several players. Here's a crazy part. He's a kicker. At one point, nothing is impossible. There's no other 5 weeks. It's done. We went inside the wall. As precise it is still doable. So, will we be done? Conventional wisdom says anything possible should be done eventually, right? But it's hard to say yet. Once we I want to see it yet. Even though none of it's impossible, it's still hard. Right now, it just seems a little bit out of reach. Next shortcut though is completely out of reach. This is Dry Ruins. Fun fact, I actually just finished playing some Dry Ruins, so this is actually perfect timing. Let's see a different checkpoint system though. As with most shortcuts though, the wall is simple. Out around the finish line bounds. Then we spawn right back here, turn the last checkpoint, and drive through. The key to this one though is getting around the finish line. Because the kicker, of course, is a massive invisible wall, highlighted by blue. You can't get around the finish line checkpoint without getting past this wall. And it goes up and up. So that's the problem right there. Figure out a way to get past that invisible wall. Blaze took upon himself to do so though. There wasn't a way to go through it. He's had another idea. He's going to go over it. Enter the super grind. The super grind works like this. It's a form of rapid higher flop abuse. You do the normal hopper bits on every other frame as usual, but adding alternate paths and alternate paths. This causes a few to build up, as well as change your bike's rotation every now and then. So when you eject off the ramp, you get sent high into the air, and then do a wall clip of the rock. You go in and higher, eventually make it up a little wall and out of bounds. Fire Hoppius makes this trick almost impossible to do in between. Next, Blaze managed to get 20 minutes to rock. That made it 2 ultra quads discovered in 2020. Just 1 month into the year, and 2 more months into the next one. Did slow. Without a hitch. Well, just shortcuts. 2020 was real. 1 moment for a long time. You remember when I said that one of the shortcuts was impossible? Well, this one's been developed. That was Castle 3. Because of the pandemic, it made this possible. In like 2018 though, when Justin came up with an idea of how to cut really save any time. Lap, you top a wall and walk up to the corner. Issue was, it's going to take on 2 top one though. So we have 5, not 7. As it's not loaded, lap doesn't count. Luckily, just had a walk around. Skipping the first checkpoint too. This might seem counterintuitive, but kind of think about it. Like in 1, the game thinks they're still in region 0, meaning in region 7 it also is safe. 6, this consequence is region 7. I think when you get there. Line for success. This same idea was done is what we saw at Maple Treeway. So it's not a new concept. This checkpoint. Off at the finish line. The wasn't viable for a while. So that idea was thrown out. The next day though, we implemented though. Possible just to off the blocks. You very precisely fall off the side of these blocks. Then do a wall clip off of them to get what you need. And as Sweep figured out, this method was viable, but only if you use a spear, the fast spike in the game. Even though it's still slow normal now, because the spear sucks at drifting, and it doesn't really work. Which of the class beat? There's 3, 6, 3, 6, 6, 6 though. It's not that time though. It should really be liquid input. SLR 62 and Kirio, it proved that the short crossbow was a flame runner. It will gain fast times. Rather than a door to gain visual shortcuts. For a carrying bump, control fast by half a second, turbo, that put a damper on things. But a few months later, racers came back. They felt they could get just to find the perfect spot. They could make the ultra shortcut work. So they got to work. The time to beat was 35.936. So they got to work, and they had to figure out ways to get across this. How exactly? Well, that's what this is, and that's what method are. So they almost got it. But somehow soon they got it. On April 26th, the final task was published. A 35.743, just barely ahead of the normal chocolate limit. Egypt was technically sent to do so, but faster than donations from every but a lot of people. I'm not gonna listen at all because they're pretty long on the list, but just so you know, listen from the names. Wonderful journey for many members of the community. Motivating a new ultra shortcut by the slimmest of margins. The 3rd of 2020. So, none of these 3 have been done humanly, but just seeing ways a task can break a course is amazing. Still though, there's a new controller performance. Ways 20 have been missing. But in July, an interesting development was made to an old one. Remember Waluigi Stadium when I mentioned that was impossible? Well, mainly because of rapid fire properties. You'll be seeing again how it goes on. Waluigi Stadium's ultra shortcut was impossible to do with rapid fire properties. So, how did you get it done? Again, from 2015, it was a massive jump up in the high skip checkpoint. They performed rapid fire beats to clip through it and skip part of the course. It's an impressive shortcut, yes, but rapid fire beats made it impossible to do. And the story. No, wait, just the beginning of the story actually. That was where we left off last time before the break. So, for years, players have been shortcut humanly possible. One of them is named Sam F. His idea was pretty simple. So when the ocean line, you pass through invisible wall to land the track. When it is still a horizontal wall. Again, whenever you buy contact horizontal wall, it's able to pass through walls. Although Sam couldn't make it to track, this manner for wall will be explored even more. In January of 2020, Justin and Benny came up with a new method. You do a main turbo for speed, reach the top of the banner, and use it to tuck up the wall, all without using a mushroom. And then when you choose track, remember to find how you do this method. So, how does that method work? Believe it or not, game shortcuts was also humanly possible. It's the shroomless bad clip not be sure about though. Imagine that you've been tasked, you barely have enough speed to nick it. So this person was bad on the back burner. But then, half a year later, Joe Puff proved that Sam's first method was easy to do, impossible to do, just hard. Goldberg. Yes, F's. Once again, I'm gonna choose a place to do humanly. So, what impossible, but try to do this again and again. Really, nobody can get it. The old draw bond. You can't eat Jake came out in this method 5 days later. It was similar to Justin Benny's method, but had much more leeway. You need a mushroom to get out of the banner, and click to the left when your eye hits the dirt. By then hopping, your bike would bounce to the right, just enough to clear it. You then turn around, hit the last key checkpoint, and finish the lap. Right away, if you feel this to be humanly possible. Question was, who would be the first? Well, just 3 days later, that question was answered by a person named Logan. And turned perfectly. Bounds to get 158. I'm good. This will have to be the same as the task mission. I'm by being picked up by boss. Eventually, lower doing 28 by not having to respawn. But there's still potential for more. It's possible to do a shortcut 3 times in a race. We mushroom per lap. We got the of doing this once. It's kind of a long shot. In Sam's version 2, which would be faster, but no one's never done that either. If those shortcuts are hit, why would your stadium record is still viable? And it wasn't done yet. Look at Ghost Valley 2. Now, Ghost Valley 2, we've already talked about it. This one was pretty easy though, but it's impressive still. The original Ghost Valley 2 shortcut was discovered in 2009. Roll clip off the finish line, tip for the track. But 6 years later, in 2015, this shortcut was improved by, of course, Blaze. Round 0 second balls. Lap. Show us how this works. Finish line box. Thanks to your own Legion 0. So, second track is no biggie. As long as you go back to hit the checkpoint, the game thinks you normally and counts it. The only catch is it won't take you a fraction of a second. Or you should use all 3 mushrooms and couldn't do a normal apps. The second one, was it possible? Doing it fast enough to the same time was not easy. You need to do it 3 lap booking. But finally, in October 2020, Logan did it. Being the world record, which is a 10th of a second. Okay? No one has ever come to pull off both wall clips and world record speed. So it makes 4 short movements pulled up in 2020 alone. There's a wide range of high-level movement. Some all tricks can do pre-perform. I'm going to be each or want you to see. Yeah. And off, I'm going to say it. Like Die Ruins. That trick's possible. So shortcuts though was let's Bass Castle 3, remember that one? Again, mentioned by a hop abuse to get across the wall. You walk then with a frame times per second isn't humanly possible. So any trick that requires it can't be done in tests. But key word was it was humanly impossible. Not that it is. So, with the word was, it kind of adds new meaning. In November of 2020, though, TASA CF came back to get another crack at this, looking for a way to bypass the whole threat of interviews. And sure enough, he found a way to make it Ultra Short viable. This is the barrel roll. Oh, and yes, come on, Peppy.
Do a barrel roll.
Thank you. Anyways, how does a barrel roll work? The same year the game came out in 2008. A barrel roll wasn't fully explored until many years later. Well, then do a wheelie while you slow off the edge. If done correctly, your bike instantly where the game won't try to fix your bike's rotation as long as you stay in low speed. Then, we'll state, you can line yourself up to finish line. I'm using mushroom to quickly correct your rotation. And just like Red Red BBs, it's causing me to snap back to normal. Over the wall and clip back into the finish line. The result is exactly this. Just as it is, I don't need to button mash like a maniac. It's still unbelievably challenging. You need to get the president bounce. Be lined up on a pole, then get a big enough clip to make it all across. 3 variables exist. Technically, all being possible, you need a miracle to line up the same one. Who's crazy to do that? Who was? The answer is Logan. The same Logan who did Waluigi Stadium. And who also did the Round 2. He also done several other records, of course. So he sure was up to the challenge, right? But this was nothing that he could do. He was hard. These were his attempts in 2020. The first one, unsuccessful. He didn't get it, and unfortunately, it didn't work. Try 2. No, unfortunately, it did not work either. It was not well enough. He didn't get it. So, 3 for 3. Let's see if he got it. Lucky number 3. Well, remember when I said the third time's a charm? Yeah, it wasn't on the 13th. He tried it, and unfortunately, it too failed. He missed it by just a barely. But what about number 4? He had hit 122 little of airtime. What about number 4? Come on, let's see how it goes. Nope, he didn't get it. Still not. Again, too early. On the 17th, did he get it then? Well, this was offline, so we're not going to hear his commentary, but let's just say he might know something else. So, how did he do? Well, he finally got it off. He was able to go crazy and get the thing to count. Logan's long grind had paid off. You could see the top 10 times when look at it. You know, everyone had 2-1 or 230 except for him. He was alone 220, a full 10 seconds ahead of the rest. Additional shortcut. To this day, nobody has ever pulled it off. As more time has gone on, records have been done like this. Cooper Cape is an example. Recently, Justin found another method to implement barrel roll to get the roll clip around into rapid-fire hopper beats. We proved BJ. This is still unclear if it be only done tasks. Precision needed is beyond hard. Those have gone close. Nobody has got it. Now, there's still one more course after all. One more course to end this whole project off. And believe it or not, we're entering DeLorean to travel back to 2015. For the most iconic track in Mario Kart Wii, Rainbow Road. On the basis, Rainbow Road has had several. The first one is exactly what you'd think. Rainbow Road has several already, so let's see how you do this. And let's get into how one person would possibly do this anyways. And let's see how someone would do it. You have to do this first one in Wi-Fi. So it's kind of hard to do nowadays since Wi-Fi connection is shut down. But if you can find rocks right here, great. Causes you to tumble off the railing, it's relaxed. What the game normally does though is pick you up, place you behind the finish line. This won't be a problem because you're going from checkpoint box right from the finish line to right behind it. However, this is kind of where the offline play comes into play. 12 people are usually an online match. And 6, back at 2 will drop you in the first checkpoint box. Last 6 though, must be behind it. I just get distracted, so logically generate checkpoint and drive forward. That's it. And that is where we leave us today. Except for one. Believe it or not, Rainbow Road has 2. And this one is the one has been done by a human. But we'll get to that. But it's pretty hard to do the method. It was discovered very recently, March 2016, by Esteloi62. You drive slightly forward, and then turn around in space between the outside of the track. Believe it or not, getting back here is the easy part. The hard part though is getting to hear the track. Into a spin drift, right, and then hold and see it back to the left. Hop perfectly out of the air into the track, and then out of the air, and do all that correctly, and just barely make it back. You don't go far enough. You won't go back into 2.0. So last you don't load it, and the lock won't count. If you do things incorrectly, check won't work. Everything is precise to the second. Technically, nothing's impossible. People have come really close. It's not conceivable, and it's probably doable. So, was it doable? Well, let's see. Sorry, it's getting a little dark in here, guys. It's a pretty cloudy day outside, so I just have to turn the light on. Give me one. That was just my bad. But luckily, we'll continue on where we left off with Rainbow Road. And I'll show you right now. So, again, where was I by the efforts? And I saw around it. Again, the method is really hard to do. One possible improvement was made though. See, Esteloi all 3 of her mushrooms to make it across the first time. So that's why you need 2 of them. On the finish side, and see, make it inside. Unfortunately, it's 2 mushrooms. You do this shortcut once per race. You just need 1 mushroom. You get 1 step farther. You do a shortcut with 1 mushroom. Although it was possible, it would be a hell of an attempt. And you could do it 3 times. Race in under a minute. For years it seemed out of the question. Then in 2020, tasks started to close events. On November 21st, CF made a task, mushroom drift, barely mid to track, and drift, but that didn't count. Reason why is actually pretty simple. He didn't go far back enough. This step was harder than it looked. Going far enough back involves delaying the launch as long as it can. Going around faster. CF back at help out. But bounces move speed. It still wasn't enough. What this one did do though, however, was inspire Mario to start attempts of his own. Now, Mario has done tasking before of Paper Mario and other games. 720 to Rainbow Road. Trying to kind of first player to one mushroom task of the Ultra Shortcut. He didn't know if it was possible, so all he could do was hope and pray with the task and try over and over again. So, would he get it? It seemed hard. It seemed that every attempt, he wouldn't get it. Unfortunately, some of the attempts caused him to fall off the track and not get it. So, how it happened? Well, he actually didn't get it. She wouldn't be able to get it. He got it several times by falling off the track and by using the methods he knew of. It seemed that the pennies had dropped. And by this attempt, he landed on the track. It looked like he got it. And he did. But it confirmed. On December 28th, 2020, Mario proved that mushroom shortcut was possible in tasks. Shortcut phenomenon in lab. Of course it's done, right? Best to make it players. Normally, but thanks to the efforts of so many of the community, it was overcome. Road has been broken. Except for non-tasks. This 3-on-3 no mushroom method is humanly impossible. Because Mario also used rapid fire hoverboards. That rules out any human ever performing the Rainbow Road Shortcuts 3.3 and being the course in a minute. At least for now. Not the normal method. Well, after Evolution discovered it, this shortcut was soon to be humanly possible. Community members claimed that it could be done because the precision was way beyond the skill set you would need. Jack had its own set of precise inputs that need to be performed. For years and years, few serious attempts were made. But again and again, and as we discovered more and more, it seemed more possible. It became the holy grail of Mario Kart Wii Ultra Shortcuts. So, in 2018, the quest for the Rainbow Road Ultra Shortcut began. It was King Alex, a player with a long career. He posted a video August 2018 of some of his close attempts. There were some nice runs, but they all didn't have rotation or too slow of a bounce. And he was going way into the earth. 2018, he did more attempts. He just died because out of bounds points. Once we were, and all of them stalled there. Still, these direct masks, so some serious event was brewing. By 2019, more players were trying. Member named Taylor had probably the closest result. Well, but he still didn't make it. He fell short. In April 2020, Justin gave it a shot. He got close, but he got far enough back to zero. So 4 years still, even though there have been several attempts, players still weren't quite able to get it yet. So, was it possible? Was it? Well, there is still a few methods we can talk about. But, what are those methods entirely, and what is that method? So, what is it? In November 2020, players needed some help with CF tasks Cracker for the 3 tasks bounces with normal shortcuts. Bounce had a chance of making it, which helped out. Now, there was new life for Rainbow Road. More players than ever before were going for it. Each of them wanted to be the first one who would get it. As the first one to get Rainbow Road, Mario Kart Wii. And on December 6th, 2020, Arthur did this. Now, unfortunately, well, it looks like he got it. He didn't. He had just barely missed it. A YouTube named Winback4 showed how much he missed. Arthur had green line to show everything. As you can see here, he barely missed the green line. So anyway, didn't update. This tiny disable came close to make it straight. The very next day, a player named Core came second person to do so. But he too didn't go far enough back. It seemed there was a result closer than Arthur was. We still didn't get it. That's two players in the same week who made it across, but just couldn't do it. In a short while later, player attempted. Happy with Shudder. He too was trying, but wasn't far enough. Under Core, she's going to try again 5 more times. Until he count the lap. He almost got it. The gap shortcut was proven to be almost impossible still. That's all it was done. Despite every close attempt though, none of them were able to get the lap to count. Weeks passed. 2020 began. No one got it. Simon Salt once said this in his last video. He said this quote in his note in 2018. In Mario Kart, he stood the test of time for several years. Thousands of attempts, dozens of players. In Mario Kart Wii Ultra he made in 2018, he said this statement right here. The Rainbow Road shortcut would one day be pulled off. The only question was, who was going to be the author? Well, turns out he was pretty close, because he didn't mean author, he meant Arthur. Arthur came back on January 13th, 2021, and this shit happened. He was able to get it down, turn around, go through there, get it, and prove the whole thing was more than viable. He got it, he was able to do it, and he actually hit everything correctly. He got it down, and eventually, he finished it off, proving that was possible. And that is where we end off. Thank you all so much for watching. A big help to the YouTuber Summoning Salt for this video. His 2 Mario Kart Wii Ultra videos are in the description below and were huge resource materials. Please check this out on Spotify, on Amazon, on Apple, on Patreon, and whenever you watch podcasts. Please subscribe to my Bluesky. Every time, Bluesky.net. For now, I think it's time to play some Mario Kart Wii. So, with all that being said, take care, and I'll see you all later.